Hi, my name is Shannon Lewis, and the title of my show is The Softness of Much Handled Things. I think of the figures in the work as shapeshifters who adapt limbs and bodies as needed to navigate their space. And they continue this work of improvisation with any mutual dreamers they meet along the way. The works contain characters at thresholds, windows, doors, outdoor to indoor. 1 second before dawn, a few minutes after sunset. All locations with permeable borders, boundaries that are difficult to delineate. Because it's there in the margins and in the undescribed, where there remains opening for change in the new. So the title of the show came from a line in Toni Morrison's Sula. I read this book basically every 5 years, and it becomes a different thing every time I read it. This time, the thing that really struck me was the relationship between Nell and Sula and how they grew up in this mutual dreaming. Like they almost didn't exist outside of coming together and figuring out a world outside of where they were that they could be. The world can be harsh, and there's an impetus to sort of harden yourself to the world, but there's also something beautiful in leaving space for vulnerability when you meet someone who you can also be vulnerable with. So it's also about leaving space for sociality, leaving space for care, and leaving space to experience love and tenderness. Color is really important to my work because I'm always trying to create a really luxe and luscious space. It's almost like candy. It's almost something that's meant to be delicious. It's almost something that's meant to be consumed. This is the first work that I started for this show, and it's called A Platform of Ambiguity. And I like it because she's perched above her space, and you can't really tell if she's descending or ascending. And depending on what mood I'm in when I approach the work, that kind of changes for me. But either way, she's poised and she's not in any rush. I'm really interested in hands as a gesture. And this is why I also hide the face of figures a lot in my work, because I want the viewer to also do a read of what's going on from just a subtle gesture, a positioning, the bending of a wrist. I like the ambiguity of this, whether she's reaching up or whether she's falling back. It's unclear. So when I say there's thresholds, it's not just doors and windows, but thresholds of movement as well too. So I'm constantly looking at people's hands when they're speaking. What does it mean if you cross them? What does it mean when you cross your body? What does it mean if you're a big gesticulator? I mean, I find it great. All these little clues to reading people. In this image, sometimes I like to take a figure and place them in different spaces, because I also like to play with collapses in temporality, because we are haunted by the past and it makes the present, and it's constantly shaping the future. This painting is also too, in a way, another sort of collage of memory, because we know kind of what firm, heavy drapes feel like, or the softness of a velvet couch, or this particular material for a trench and the sound it makes when you trace your fingers across it. So for me, it's like a collage of feelings and touch as well too, all to generate a feeling of sensuality.